Hello everyone, welcome to the Evo India channel. Today is a special day. It's World Motorcycle Day and we're going to be celebrating it by going out for a ride, of course. But before that, we're going to be catching up with a hardcore motorcycle enthusiast who lives and breathes motorcycle. Case in point here, Deepak Gupta, who in his entire riding career so far has clocked over 14 lakh kilometers. So without further ado, let's get Deepak on and let's get him to talk about his story so far. So, hi Deepak, can you
Hi,
tell us a little
hi,
bit
Karan.
about yourself?
Yeah, as everybody else, I was a boy with fantasy about wheels, and I did my education, I did my engineering, and I've been riding since 1978. So it has been a very long journey with different kind of motorcycles and different technologies, from two-stroke to four-stroke, and I love to ride and drive. If I given a choice between the aeroplane, the train, and the road journey, I would always prefer road journey. Maybe it is 3,000 kilometers or 4,000 kilometers. Distance doesn't matter.
Right. Right, that's always the motorcyclist way. So,
Yes,
what there's that crucial moment, right, where you catch the motorcycling bug. What would
yes.
that moment be for you?
For me, it was in the year 1977 when my uncle bought a Luna moped 50cc.
Okay.
So that was my first ride on a two wheeler where I sat on the two wheeler and just kicked it, and
Okay.
since then, no turning back. I am always on the wheels. I have never ever lived, I would say, since 1982 without a two wheeler. Four wheeler, ho ya na ho, it doesn't matter, but two wheeler has to be in my place. I can't live without
Right.
a two wheeler. Yes.
Right. Right. And what was your first motorcycle? Like you said, this Luna experience was something, but what was
My
your first
my
motorcycle?
first motorcycle was 1981. It was a Rajdoot Bobby, named
What?
after the movie Bobby. It
Yeah.
was a small motorcycle which could do wonders in those times. I was in class 11th when I had that motorcycle, and I had that motorcycle for just 2 years, 11th and 12th, and did clock 55,000 kilometers on that motorcycle. And now I repent why I sold it off. So that was the day, and there was hardly any traffic on the Delhi roads, and I used to do roughly 14 kilometers in exact 13. My best time was 13 minutes, and my worst time was 14 minutes from East Delhi to Lashpur Cambridge School. So I have seen the golden era of where there were not so good roads, but no traffic at all.
Right.
No traffic
If I'm
at
not
all.
mistaken, this used to be called the Bobby bike, right?
Yes, yes, yes. That was named after the movie Bobby,
Right.
starring
Right.
Rishi Kapoor and Dimple Kapadia.
Right. Right. And 55,000 kilometers in 2 years as a college going student.
55,000. Oh, yes, that was in class 11th and 12th.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yep, that's a lot.
Right. So, do you have any memory of the first big ride that you undertook?
I think for me, big is you can say a comparative synonym, because for me, every day, every year, the value of big changes.
Right, of
So
course.
at the moment, I am doing I do 1,000 kilometers a day in India or anywhere on a motorcycle.
Right.
So I can start the day with a cup of tea in Delhi and have dinner in Ahmedabad.
That's
So
interesting.
I did Delhi Srinagar recently. Started Delhi in the early morning and was there in Srinagar in the night. So
Wow.
so so, so the definition of big changes from time to time, and the more experienced you become, the more passionate you become. The definition of big changes from time to time, and I would say with age catching on, it is changing drastically. My stamina of riding and driving is increasing day by day.
Right, right. That's great. That's great. But if you were to say, like, for me, if I were to say my first big ride, it would be something
Mm.
that was pushing me outside my comfort zone. And I
Ah.
remember it was for work. I had to bring
Mm.
a what? It was a radio, and I had to bring it back from Hyderabad. So
Ah.
600 kilometers, and the longest I've done
Ah.
before that was like 50, 60, 70 kilometers.
Oh,
So for me, that hmm,
that way, my first big ride would be, I would say, in '85 when I had to go to install a machine in Roorkee from Delhi,
Right.
and I did Delhi Roorkee Delhi in the same day, which comes out to be roughly around 400 kilometers.
Okay. Right. So you've clearly come a long, long, long way from that.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
All right. So I know this is going to be difficult to categorize, but can you tell us at length about some of your best rides?
Uh, the best ride of my 40 years of journey on the road would I would list it as the Dominar Polar Odyssey, which started from Alaska, the Arctic Circle, to the ended up in Antarctica in Argentina in Ushuaia. That was 55,273 kilometers in 5 months, 15 countries, three continents, and 99 saddle days. So I would rate that as my best ride, and more best are yet to come.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit more about this ride?
But I mean, this ride was sponsored by Bajaj Dominar, and they were trying to prove the machine that it can do anything and everything on the roads. And we started this ride in Alaska, and we did length and breadth of US and Canada, and then entered to Mexico and did up till Argentina, covering Latin America and Central America. We faced all the possible roads or the terrains which a rider can dream of, and this Pan America One highway is every rider's dream across the world, to ride from Arctic to Antarctic or Antarctic to Arctic, the both ways.
Right.
So every possible terrain, every possible weather, rain, heat, dust, everything was included in this ride. And three riders staying together for 5 months, completing the ride without any untoward incident, without any injury, without any health issues. I mean, that in itself is a remarkable thing to achieve.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's commendable.
Yes,
Right. Coming on the whole topic of long rides and especially international rides,
yes,
the two-part question. You have ridden the length of breadth of India, I'm pretty sure, and
yes,
a lot
yes,
internationally also. So, what do
yes.
you prefer in terms of riding terrain? Like, what sort of style of riding do you prefer, and which do you
I,
feel applies that?
for me, riding is not about the terrain. I would say one two wheeler is the preferred medium for me for traveling. I love to travel, and two wheeler is the best medium for me. I love people connect. I love food connect. I love culture connect. That is why I am traveling, and terrain is part of that travel. So whatever terrain comes, I don't go specifically for the terrain that look I have to do this terrain or do this terrain. Whatever comes my way, I try to cover that without causing injury to myself and the bike. And I would say we have covered during that ride. We covered four of the top 10 most dangerous roads in the world: the Road of Death, the Atacama Desert, then the Dalton Highway and the Dempster Highway, which is 700 kilometers of pure jungles, and no living beings, only the bears and the Alaska gas pipeline along running along your side. And if anything happens, you are at God's mercy. So I mean, so terrain doesn't bother me. Terrain doesn't bother me.
Right. And so there's I'm pretty sure there's a lot of logistics that goes behind doing this. Just having fun
Definitely,
aside, there's a lot of
definitely,
planning that goes behind doing something like this. So could you shed
definitely.
light on some of that? Like, so if someone was trying to undertake an international ride, what would they
Uh,
need to go about doing? Could you
so
guide us on that?
first, I would say first and foremost, before planning any ride, whether it is 1,000 kilometers or 10,000 kilometers or a lakh kilometers, the rider should assess himself or herself. What is her or his capability of riding uh, per day, or uh, total how many kilometers is he or she comfortable would do. Accordingly, he one should plan kilometers per day. Then comes the what region, what country, what continent is he or she planning to ride, then you have to prepare the itinerary accordingly. The weather plays an important role in planning. Like, I am planning my next international ride, and it is already the third month, and we are still sitting at the itinerary stage and finishing the itinerary and would start the visa process. So it's five, I would say comfortably 4 to 6 months exercise of planning a ride. Then you have to take into account the weather, because if it is snow, you can't ride. If it is raining, then you have to take into account the number of kilometers. You can't cover too much of kilometers
Mm.
in rains and snow and hailstorm. So weather plays an important role. Then you have to take into account the uh, riding break you would like to take, because if you want to cover 600 kilometers, but in the next 800 kilometers there is absolutely nothing. So per force you have to cover 800 kilometers in that day. So you have to plan your ride accordingly. You have to figure out every detail about the road conditions, the infrastructure available on that road, the weather, and the riding pattern, the riding conditions, the traffic in that country or in that region. How, if you can, I mean, you have to read about the terrain where you want to ride, so that you are uh, uh, pre-prepared for any unforeseen circumstances. And then you have to go for the visa process and apply for all the visas and thing, and then you have to go and just ride, enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. So you said something very interesting where you spoke about how you never know within those 800 kilometers whether you're going to get any logistics that could be
Yes,
fuel,
yes,
anything.
yes,
But those are, they sound like pretty local things that, so like me from here planning something in say Australia, I may
yes.
not easily find out information about one particular place over there or one particular stretch. So how do you go
Yep.
about identifying those
No,
things?
gone are the days, Stone Age era, where in my days no information was available. I remember my first international travel was in 1985, and there were no telephones available. You had to book a trunk call and STD, ISD, and all those things. No Google Maps. We had to take that long paper maps with us and mark on and think. No connectivity. These times, the children today are really lucky with all the information, all the technology at just a finger, on their palm, on the mobile. So all the information is available. Plus, if you talk to people, if you are in the right group, you talk to people like seniors, like me, if who has traveled, you ask the questions, you would certainly get the information. And it is very easy nowadays. It is very easy. There are so many platforms available on the social media for every region. I mean, you will be surprised that if you want to travel Australia, there is a different platform for Australia riders or travelers traveling across Australia, riding across US, riding across Africa, South Africa, or Africa for that matter. I mean, plenty of information is available. I would advise for any traveler, whether it is by four-wheeler, by two-wheeler, or by plane. If you want to explore the area, just read and read before traveling.
Right.
It'll
Right.
help you. It'll help you.
Right. So you said when you started, there was no phones, no internet. You had to use
Nothing
physical
at
media.
all.
What do you
Nothing at
prefer?
all.
You prefer the ease of today, or
Uh,
you prefer the
I
analog
would say, the yes, the technology has helped traveling, connecting people, but I would still I consider myself to be a Stone Age era man, and I won't trust anybody these days. Also, even the Google Baba. I would Google is saying go straight after every wherever there is some confusion. I'll ask. It's my standard rule. I'll ask three people. If two says this direction, I'll go in that direction.
right?
I confirm it physically as well. And especially when you are traveling in the villages, even in India, if you are traveling in the villages, at some places Google may not work, and you are stranded in some lone place and nobody to guide you, or even if at all you find a person, you ask him, "Mujhe yahan jana hai," that person might not have traveled more than 20 kilometers in his entire lifetime, so he won't know the name of the next village. So
Correct.
what I do is, I always, even if in India I am traveling in the remote places, I always mark the villages, write down the villages which will come across my terrain, across my journey, and so that when I am passing through village C, I would ask the village D at the most to that man, not
Correct.
village E.
Correct.
So that is my way of traveling, even till today. But yes, of late, I would say my last trip in last year in September, October, and November, I did the Eastern Europe on motorcycle. That was, I would say, that was my first ride wherein I was 100% dependent on the Google Map and on the credit card.
So in 40 years, last year was the first
Yes.
time you were only completely
Yes,
dependent
first time I traveled without
on physical
international
maps.
currency, or just the forex card and the Google.
That's nice. How was that experience?
Terrific, terrific, terrific.
Nice.
Because in European countries, and if you're riding in rains and for kilometers together, you won't find a person to tell you the way. I mean, you have to depend on and you can't. The vehicles are moving at 100, whatever the prescribed limit, and there are no slow moving traffic there. So you have to depend on the Google Maps.
Right, right, right,
And
right.
generally, what I have experienced is in the last 2 years, the Google Maps will do 80% of their job.
Correct.
I travel a lot. I have been
Right,
scammed by the Google Map as well.
right.
I was doing the Northeast Safarnama, wherein Google Maps sent me to the village interior roads, and out of the blue, it brought me to a point where there was a river in front of me, and it was saying, "Just go ahead,
Go
go
ahead.
straight."
Right.
So, so yes, I would say 80%, 80 to 85%. And yes, in Europe, US, I think it is 90-95%, but in India it is still 80%.
It is still getting there. Correct. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. I've had similar experiences as you.
But traveling has become easy now. I would say easy,
Mm,
easy.
right. That makes sense. Okay, so logistics, planning the ride, planning the location, and all is one half of it. But then there's
Yes,
also actually preparing yourself, preparing your motorcycle, deciding what gear to carry, deciding what tools to
yes,
carry, how much is
yes,
enough, when do you draw the line, like yes, these tools are enough, this much I
yes,
should know how much to fix the bike, this much I should
yes,
leave it to the mechanics. So how do you plan
yes.
those things?
So first and the foremost thing is I have always told travelers, riders, love your machines. If you can't love your machine, machine would never love you back. So, in my 40 years of road traveling, I have never been stranded on the road because of my machine, whether it is a four wheeler or a two wheeler. I make it a point to keep my machines properly serviced, properly taken care of. My daily routine starts with just taking a 360 round of the motorcycle, एंड उसमें पता चल जाता है आपको कोई टायर में हवा कम है, कहीं नट लूज है, कोई हैंडल में कुछ दिक्कत आ रहा है, एंड यू जस्ट करेक्ट इट. Give 5 minutes, 360 round of your motorcycle, it will tell you. Then you have to, like, in my 55,000 kilometers of journey, we knew it will be 50,000 cross mark. So we were carrying the spares, whatever were essential spares. I always advise the travelers who are traveling in India as well, do carry a clutch wire, a race wire, few knick-knack nut bolts, something. And in India में दिक्कत नहीं होता है, you get mechanic everywhere. और बट बाहर दिक्कत होता है, तो आपको सबसे पहले तो बाइक को प्रॉपरली मेंटेन करना है. इफ यू आर मेंटेनिंग एंड लविंग योर बाइक, नो इश्यूज. Tools, basic tools I carry the puncture kit, I carry the puncture repair kit, the tire inflator, that is the must. Then a few set of the chabiyan, so to tighten the nuts and all, and especially for tightening the chain. And I carry the chain lube, that's all. So
That's all.
my mantra is ki before stopping for tea. The moment I stop for tea, first I'll lube the chain and then have my tea. Whether it is 200 kilometers or 300 kilometers, first पहले बाइक को देखो, उसके बाद चाय पियो. So बाइक कभी आपको तंग नहीं करेगी. So the
Nice.
mantra is you love your machine, machine will love you back.
Obviously, it's a very good mantra to live by.
Yes.
So 14 lakh kilometers. I'm assuming some of them are also
I think
cars.
I think now it is 16 lakh kilometers crossed. The 14 is the data, 2 years back data, for two and a half years old data. It is now. I am imagining it is definitely 16 cross.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure you've seen your fair share of motorcycles.
Oh
So could you
yes.
give us a rundown of what your garage has looked like in the last 40 years and what it looks
I
like
mean,
right now?
I have, I am not a motorcycle collector for that matter. I was not that rich that I could keep all the motorcycles which I used. But yes, I have used the Luna, the mopeds, the Bobby, then the Rajdoot 175cc bike, which used to be called the Dudio wala bike, milkman bike, then the Royal Enfield, the iconic Royal Enfield with the brake on the left side and the gears on the right
Yes,
side.
on the side,
And
correct.
riding a Royal Enfield in those times were considered to be I mean, he's an exceptional rider,
Yeah, yeah.
because riding that machine in itself was a task. And the Samurai, the Shogun, the RX 100, iconic RX 100, the RD 350, the Java, the Road King, SD, and list is never ending. I mean, whatever motorcycle came, I mean, most of the guys, young guys, 20, 25, 20, 30, would not know what SD looked like, what Java looked like. Java definitely didn't look like what the Java is these days. So
Correct.
so so I have seen the machines, number of machines which the guys can see now in the museum or in the collector's garage.
Right. Right. So what does your garage have right now?
Right now, I have two Royal Enfields, Thunderbird and a Classic. Then two Dominars, the 2017 Trans-Siberian Odyssey bike, the 2018 Polar Odyssey bike. Then I had a KTM, but which I recently sold off. I am now again buying my KTM Adventure. Then I have a Harley Davidson 750cc. I have a Hayabusa 1300cc Gen 1 bike with the
Gen 1.
340 maximum speed. Yes. Then I
Cool.
have a Kawasaki ZX14R with a number plate having 14 on it, and I have a Triumph T100 Bonville.
Okay. Now again, this is going to sound like asking you which your favorite child is, but which is your favorite bike in your garage right now?
I mean, you are asking me which is your favorite son, the younger son or the elder son. As I told you, I love my machines. Whether it is my scooty or it is my Royal Enfield. Still, the 2009 model Royal Enfield, which has done more than 1,50,000 kilometers, is my loved one. I mean, I love each of my machines. I mean, बाप अपने बच्चों में डिफरेंस, प्यार में डिफरेंस नहीं कर सकता है ना.
Correct. Correct.
तो I love each of my machines, each of my
Right.
machines.
Right. That brings me perfectly to my next question. Like, you
Yes.
can't talk about riding and riding culture in India without addressing Royal Enfield. So,
Yes,
what has your journey with Royal Enfield been like?
I told you I have ridden the Royal Enfield in my college days. The left side brake wala. It was really a tough task to ride those machines in those times. In the era of two-stroke 100cc machines, 350 used to be a Royal.
They had the decompression thing also, na, where if you didn't
Yes,
do it
yes,
in time, you
yes.
could break
And
your leg,
oh, I have my marks on both my legs. Both my legs, wo jab, it used to
kick
flush you
back.
back. I
Yeah.
mean, that ankle would always be injured. So I have both my ankles injured to the maximum. I have my burn marks on both the foot, which are one was during my ride in Goa, and it was 1 inch deep. The wound became 1 inch deep and a big 2 inch circle. So
Okay.
the Royal Enfield has given me many memories, and I remember in those, you know how the college students are. I mean, in those days I never knew how to maintain the bikes. Just चलाने से मतलब होता था. So
Correct.
इंजन भी सीज किया है. So Royal Enfield has always been since 1980. I would say since 84. I've been riding Royal Enfield, and Royal Enfield is, every child's dream to ride a Royal Enfield.
Think if you have ridden Royal Enfields from that era to this era,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that
Yes.
is one of the reasons you must have become as good a mechanic as you are, right?
I cannot open the engine, but I ensured that वो मौका ही ना आए. My bike should not break down to the level where I would need the engine makeup. My Royal Enfield has done 1,50,000 plus kilometers, and it's still the stock machine. The
Right.
engine has not been done except the clutch plate replacement.
Which is more than fair considering I've done 1.5 lakh
Yes,
kilometers. Right.
yes. And my Royal Enfield still gives an average of 50 kilometers per liter.
Impressive. So, what do you
Yes.
think of Royal Enfield these days? In the last few years, they've really turned around in terms of the way they make their bikes, the quality, and
Yes, yes.
everything.
Royal Enfield has come back from the stage where they were about to wind up when Sid Lal took over, and
Hmm.
they changed the side of the brakes and the gears, and that was the turnaround. And since then, Royal Enfield, there is no looking back for Royal Enfield. And yes, the competition has increased for Royal Enfield as well. That is the reason they are coming up with different models, and very very early. I mean, पहले एक मॉडल चलता था तो वो 10 साल 15 साल तक चल रहा है. आजकल
Right.
एक एक साल में दो दो मॉडल आते हैं. So
Correct.
yes, Royal Enfield, still nobody can take away the fact that Royal Enfield carries a major share of the two-wheeler industry
Hmm.
still, and it is nowhere to go. It is
Yeah,
nowhere to go. The guy who loves Royal Enfield, in spite of the fact people are cursing Royal Enfield for this, for that, for this and that, still they would own a Royal Enfield and ride a
absolutely.
Royal Enfield. So,
Absolutely.
so
There's no two ways
that,
about
that fact cannot be taken away. So Royal Enfield is like a Rajawali bike. You feel like a king riding a Royal Enfield.
it. Right. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I would say that the thump has decreased. जो इसका which was the USP of this bike, the thump which used to come, that has changed, but still Royal Enfield is Royal Enfield.
Correct. Correct. So, there's one topic I want to cover is modding motorcycles. Now,
Yes,
modding could be done for many different reasons.
yes,
Some could be extremely functional, some could be aesthetic. But
yes,
from your point of view, someone who likes to
yes,
clock as many miles as you
yes,
do, what do you
yes.
think about modding and what mods do you do on your bike, if any?
Personally, I do not like modifications for the simple reason that if you are trying to modify, because any machine which rolls out of the factory, it rolls out after too much of R&D.
Hmm.
There are so many parameters which goes into account in making a motorcycle or making a machine, and when you are doing the modifications, your limit of R&D is way too less than the limit of the company. So
Absolutely.
number one. Number two, changing the technical specification of the machine, of the engine, I personally don't feel, because it hampers the performance of the motorcycle, the
Right.
life of the motorcycle engine. So I am against it. Now with the, because now I travel 1,000 kilometers a day, and I love traveling in the night. And with so much of, now we are the highest player in the population in the world. So with so much of people on the road, so traveling has become, I mean, really, I love traveling in the night. So the only modification I like is putting up the extra lights. That too, I do not cut the wires. I just take out the wires from the battery and install a switch in between, and that's all. That is the only modification I love. Nothing else. Nothing
And
else.
what do you do for luggage?
Luggage, I add on the saddlebags. For international travel, I take the panniers.
Hands.
I
Right.
don't advise panniers in the country, because you, as you
Absolutely.
know, there are so many people, the animals and whatnot. So यहाँ एक मिनट में टच हो जाए तो झगड़ा हो जाता है.
Right.
So I
For sure.
advise traveling with the soft luggage
Okay.
in India.
All right. All right. So, uh, coming back to motorcycles,
Yep.
what motorcycles do you plan to own next? Like, what's next on your radar?
So next, my final destination is the Honda Goldwing. I am going on an international ride very soon. Coming back next year, I plan to own a Honda Goldwing. That's my dream bike to own.
Absolutely. That
That has
looks,
still eluded me.
yes, that sounds like a very interesting.
But the company is increasing its price beyond. I mean, imagine a Goldwing at 50 lakh rupees. It used to be somewhere around 30 lakh rupees. Now the Goldwing stands at 42 lakh ex showroom. So it is
Right.
50
And
lakhs.
that's not even with all the company options, right?
Yes, 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 yes. And the company is not importing the machine at the moment.
Correct. Yeah. At the moment.
let's see. I'll own a gold wing. Earlier I used to fascinate with that Indian chieftain or Indian roadmaster, but
Hmm.
the company is almost on the verge of pulling away.
Hmm.
So now owning that bike is, I mean, I don't feel, because with no service backup and all, because any machine you own, whether it is a motorcycle or any machine, machine बनी है तो खराब होगी. That is why the engineers are there. So
Absolutely.
you need the engineers, technical staff, and the spares backup. If that is not there, there is no point in owning the best of the best machines in the world if there is no backup.
Of course, backup is necessary, and wear and tear
Yes,
is, yeah,
yes, yes,
that's
yes,
true. That's true. And coming back to your garage, I heard two bikes that I'm really keen on. Like
yes.
me personally, I do like touring, but
Yeah.
track riding is something I'm more fascinated by. And
Okay.
two bikes that sort of fit the track riding bill in your garage are the Hayabusa and the ZX14R. Tell me a
Yes.
little bit about those and how you came about
I
acquiring
mean,
those.
while I was growing, so Harley Davidson was the only brand I still remember in my era where अगर कोई इंटरनेशनल मोटरसाइकिल का नाम किसी को पता होता था तो हार्ले डेविडसन.
Correct.
So as I graduated, as I grew up, then Hayabusa was the iconic motorcycle.
Right.
So always loved to own one Hayabusa, and the as the opportunity came, first gen Busa, I just grabbed it. And ZX14R, who would not love to own that machine, man?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And 14R was known as the Busa killer, and I'm sure nobody in the country would have both the machines in one garage.
Mm,
So
nice.
me and Dr. Arun Thareja, we both have the Hayabusa and Gen 1 Hayabusa and the ZX14R in our garages.
Right.
I mean, these are big machines, but no comparison. When you ride those machines, the feeling is awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Feeling is awesome.
they're also known as continent shrinkers, right? Because of the speed and the comfort at which you can do.
Oh yes, oh yes, and the India, it is, though these machines are not meant for touring in India, but I know many of my connects in US and Europe who are traveling. That man passed away last year. He had all the three Gen Busas, and combined in three Busas, he had clocked more than 7 lakh kilometers. 7 lakh kilometers.
On
So
bikes like that.
so though people tour on these two machines, I have a picture of a Busa wherein उसमें कार का टायर लगा हुआ है पीछे, and he has all the bags on this, and वो दलदल के अंदर भी जा रहा. I mean, that's an iconic picture.
That's
Iconic picture. He has so much of luggage on his Busa, and he's traveling across the countries.
absolutely, that's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, now your journey is extremely inspiring. I'm pretty sure people who may not even be fascinated by touring want to go out and tour just listening to what you have to say. So, what advice do you have for them?
Uh, there are many advices to the upcoming motorcycle riders. One, never try to copy anyone.
Hmm.
Every individual has his or her own style of riding, her own capabilities of covering number of kilometers. So never try to imitate anybody or never try to copy anybody. Ride on your own comfort zone. आपको 40 पे अच्छा लगता है तो राइड एट 40. अदर राइडर में राइड एट 60 और 80 और 100. 50 किलोमीटर जाके 100 किलोमीटर जाके वो आपका इंतजार करेगा. So ride at your own speeds, love your machines, enjoy the roads. The journey is important, not the destination. So enjoy your
Absolutely.
journey.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to tell our audience?
I would say come out of your comfort zone and explore the world. World is a beautiful place.
Great. I think it's been an extremely enjoyable conversation with you. And what better
So,
day than World Motorcycle Day to have this
yeah,
conversation with you?
yes,
And
yes,
one thing I would also like to add before we close is if you like bikes, just go out and ride. How big or small
yes.
or fancy your bike, it just doesn't matter.
No, 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 no. I always say it in public forum that respect the rider, not the machine. Don't
Exactly.
judge a rider by the machine he or she is riding. It is the rider who rides the machine, not the machine riding the rider. So
Exactly.
respect the rider irrespective of the machine he or she is riding. i i,
Exactly.
I have the most respect for a 100 cc rider. He is still
Absolutely.
riding. He's still
Absolutely.
riding.
Absolutely. As long as you're out on the road and you're having a good time, that's
Oh
all
yes,
that
and
matters.
I have everybody has his or her ups and downs. I have seen my so many lows. Whenever I am feeling low, I just go out, ride a motorcycle. When I come back, I am again a fresh man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's one another saying I really like: the best motorcycle in the world is the one that you have. So just go out and ride.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Never envy anybody else's bike. Your bike is the most precious possession you have.
Absolutely,
Even
absolutely.
I have covered the 85,000 kilometers on a TVS scooty.
Yeah, yeah. And those would
Yeah.
be extremely fun. 85,000
Oh
kilometers.
yes.
Yeah,
I am still contemplating doing a lakh kilometers on a 100 cc Activa or something like that. I mean, riding a bigger bike is, I would say, more responsibility. Riding a lighter bike or a 100 cc bike is fun.
right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. And with that, I think we've reached the end of this podcast. Happy World Motorcycle Day, everyone. If you like this
Yes.
content, do like it, share it with like minded enthusiasts, and subscribe to the Evo India channel for all things thrill of riding.
And any questions from your viewers, just pass it on to me. I would certainly reply back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.